All right, we're live. Good morning, traders. B. James here, your day trading dad. So this is the thought I'm rolling into this session with, and I've been rolling into the last number of sessions the last couple of weeks thinking about. I haven't shared it yet, but it says the next trade does not provide nor take away my future security. And this is something that I'd realized like on a deep subconscious level, that when we roll into the charts sometimes, at least for me, there's a sense of like, how is this next trade going to impact my future, and an uncertainty and a fear for the future, being able to take care and provide for my family. And I realized that every trade that I was taking kind of had this weight on it, a real big weight kind of behind the scenes. And when I realized that I was putting all the weight on this single trade, I would, of course, make poor decisions and not, and in hindsight, maybe regret what I did, or push the trade too hard, or, but ultimately I realized that like I am the provider of that security for my future, for my family. It's a similar idea of like you have a shop or a store or business, and you're like, this next customer is going to make or break my future. That's kind of how, like, you wouldn't do that. You'd be like, what's this month's sales going to do? Is this month going to provide for my family? And so I just wanted to share that, what I'm rolling into the session with. We have about 1 minute till open is all, but we have some interesting stuff going on. Quickly over here on the 15 minute, I know it's a little bit ugly on this chart. There's a lot going on. We're just stuck in this range between these two red lines. And I'm going to maybe make them black. Maybe it'll be easier to see. I really want to see something happen. I want to see something purge one way or the other. We have low resistance liquidity on both sides. So we won't really want to see NQ move one way or the other first before probably engaging. So 9:30 opening bell. Looks like we're running for sell side. So we have Asia low down in here. We have previous day low right down in there. And I'm all for longs. You can see up in here some of my pre-market notes. The bias is mixed or unclear. We have a daily change in state of delivery for bearish delivery, but the weekly still bullish. We have a 1 hours in consolidation. Isn't ideal to see that. But the lower time frame, the 1 minute, still is at least moving reasonably well. So that's a positive. If the 1 minute wasn't clean and the 1 hour was consolidating, I probably wouldn't even watch this session. And then the 15 minute has got basically, what's the retail pattern called? A wedge, I think, is what it's called. And I want to see it clear out one side or the other first. For sure, this Asia low, if not New York AM low. We'll just kind of see what it does here. Oh, look at that super tiny opening range gap. Here's 12 a.m. midnight, so still kind of consolidating around 12 a.m. And here is the new day opening gap from today. Okay, wow. All right then. Like, there's just nothing to do with that. Even if it is the reversal for the session, there's nothing to do with a 600 tick candle. And this candle here, so we cleared out some sell side, we left the Asia low, and now we're clearing out some of this buy side in this candle here, clearing out this buy side. It forms a breaker. And that's a super bullish candle. But the gap is huge. Maybe there was a 30-second. There was a 30-second right there. So that probably was the trade. I'm not often on the 30-second. All right, so 9:32, 30-second long was the W. I just didn't see it. And also wasn't confident. Like split maybe. And this could be a Judas as well towards buy side for more delivery towards sell side. Because there's still a series of lows right down in here. And there's a series of lows towards buy side as well, or highs. But yeah, that 30-second right there was it. I would have liked to have seen it swept Asia low. It swept a 1 hour low. So we just wait and we be patient. So it looks like everything's in sync currently between ES, YM, and NQ, making me think that this is likely, a little less likely a manipulation and a little more likely an expansion. But we'll see. Now, on my chart, I have light bulb only written up there. And the point of that is, when I looked back at my losses, one of the things I found is they weren't as light bulb. Like, you know, the kind of trades where you just look at your charts and you're like, oh, that's it. And you don't even think about it. Those are the trades that have a higher win rate. And so just reminding myself, not only is that going to give me a higher win rate, it's also going to be more likely that I'm adhering to my criteria and my rules if I can look at the trade and go, that's it. Just instantly, real quickly, without thinking too much. All right, so price is coming back down, retesting this original breaker. Let's just look at the standard deviations of this breaker. So here's one standard deviation up in here. We have a stack of highs, Asia high, New York PM, lunch, and previous week's low as resistance. So stack of highs right up in here. Here's a high as well. Here's another 30-second inversion right there. I'm not seeing liquidity built up engineered right up in here though. And to be honest, I am not super confident on direction at this point in time. That's also kind of playing into my evaluation here. The context is important, is as important as the trade model, if not more important than the trade model. And for me, that would be being able to lean towards one side or the other more heavily. And as I'm looking around in these charts around, I'm not totally confident on the direction. So, which usually I am. Here we have the first presented fair value gap right down here, this massive gap with this little volume imbalance down below. I feel like it's heavy. Or it doesn't want to go anywhere, one of the two. Like yesterday, we formed a opening range and price just stayed in that opening range for, I think, like an hour or more. Which yesterday, so here's my my consistency journal, and it's the Consistency Lab. Build consistency, improve results. It's a trading journal and stats system that I'm building. And it tells me, I enter on my day, I enter, if I followed my rules, my emotional control, my setup quality, the context, execution and management, and the realized R and the missed R, you enter that for, AM, lunch, PM sessions. And then it grades you on that day. And last week I was out. So far this week I've gotten 8 pluses for 2 days, but we can see it also reports back like I have a capture quality issue. I've missed 5.72 R this month, which was a big problem for this week here. I call that a bad luck week, where I had all winning trade setups, but something went wrong on my end on every single trade. With the exception of this day, I think that I got upset after one of those bad luck issues, and then I took a dumb trade. But you can see I got a D on that day, and this thing's been really awesome in helping me look at my trading. And I got to fix this. This isn't actually accurate down in here, so I got to fix this maybe later today. But this is like, did you have a disciplined red day or did you have a disciplined green day? Did you have a lucky green day? In other words, did you break your rules and did you still win? Or did you have a process failure day, which is like you broke your rules and you lost? And I think I got to look at this because I think I should have one trade that was a process failure. And then I shouldn't, something's going on. And I got to look at this, the programming behind this. And then it shows you like a radar chart. So you can see, okay, where are you weakest at? Like the setup tends to be where I rate it the lowest. And then a performance curve. So obviously we have an A grade threshold is above the yellow line, a B grade threshold is above the blue line, and you can just start to see over time your moving average of your performance. So let's go back to the chart real quick. All right, so we've swept this low down here. So yeah, that was a manipulation. So we have a double Judas, a manipulation lower, manipulation higher, delivery lower. And like there's, even if I wanted to short, I don't even think I could have. It's like it's like a 400 tick stop loss, 114 point stop loss. So that's $200 risk per micro. Is that right? I mean, I probably would have not done the whole gap. Maybe like that. That's a buy order, but still 190. $200 per micro, yeah, wild. And look at this 15-minute candle. This thing slammed down, took this low right here, went all the way back up, and now it's coming back down. And this 15-minute candle is 1,000 ticks, 240 handles. All right, Asia low has been swept. Why does this chart show Asia low is swept and this one does not? Oh, interesting. It's yeah. Right there. Okay, right here. So what is this? Is 7. Whatever indicator here is set wrong. That's why. So we do have SMT. Asia low has been swept. All right, so here's the opening range gap. There's the first percentage. Let's just clean that up. I don't really want to see that. I mean, 250 tick stop loss. I'm curious if I was halfway interested in sizing up here, or up, getting into a trade. 125 per micro. So I don't like these double lows like this though. Here would be the 2-minute inversion. I feel like I just want to see it sell off. All right, so 8 to 12, 2 to 5, 6 to 12. All right. Selling off. Cool, cool. All right, so now we're sweeping some lows here. We took out all the lows down below, and we're forming an SMT. Probably not going to leave an inversion though. As well, I'm not stoked about the there's no real LR targets here. Like, $350 ticks. So 177 for one contract. Maybe so. Maybe so. It's closing above. I'd like to see it trade back down just a little bit. All right, so I went in with one contract. We got 6 minutes left on this 15-minute candle. I'm trying to weigh in on where I want to target. And even as I'm kind of looking at this 15-minute, I'm not totally confident we're going to go run these highs. Question is, am I confident enough to stay in the trade? So here's my break-even point. You know, there's a part of me that really wants to get out of this trade, and I'm trying to figure out why that is. Obviously, I have limited time to do that, but I'm feeling like it might have to do with the context not being where I want it to be. I don't think the draw on liquidity is totally obvious. I'm not 100% confident on the bias. And so I feel like, as I'm thinking about the context on this a little bit more, it's not as strong of a trade. But we shall see. All right, sell side liquidity swept in discount for targeting buy side liquidity. So we have a major sweep. And maybe I'll even look at the higher time frame to line is unclear. Time, yes, it makes sense. Discount, yes. Major liquidity sweep, yes. The target's still intact. No unresolved liquidity, yes. This is where I'm struggling, where maybe 4 hour is consolidating. So I might say no. A-grade displacement, yes. And I think the lack of the multiple swing highs up in here, we only have 2. I think that's kind of bugging me out. I guess there's 3. They're just not close. All right, so we have a, what is that, a 2-minute? All right, so we did liquidity sweep. We had the SMT. Cons. Okay, so a 15-minute gap rejection. I missed that. Not solid LRLR target. And another con on this is the way the opening range swept twice. So that's what's bugging me out about this trade, and I couldn't quite put my finger on it initially. Is this looks like is it S&D, seek and destroy? Is it just going to keep going back and forth? So liquidity split SMT, partial HRLR, deep discount. So really, I think the trade grade was an A grade, but the context clarity was a B grade. And I think that's what's bugging me out. So this will probably get stopped out. I don't think I'm on sides with this one. Let's see what happens. Nothing to do. It's just kind of chopping around. All right, stopped out. And so I think that, you know, I said that this was I didn't like that it was a double low. I'm going to make note of that. So one other thing here. 950, 2-minute long took for an expense. And really now we're starting to build the liquidity that I want to see. You know, we have this right here, this right here, this right here, those three swings. So we're just waiting. I guess I feel like I've seen so few light bulb trades lately that I'm starting to kind of maybe the word is gosh, I can't remember the word I'm looking for, but you know, I'm seeing trades that are not light bulb as light bulb nowadays. Like the last few weeks have just been, oh man, mostly ugly. And the only thing that was playing out the last 2 weeks was like the shorts. But I wasn't going to short near all-time highs. Those shorts were beautiful. So what now? Well, the 15 minutes kind of consolidating. It swept buy side. We're just consolidating here now, grinding down. And watch, it wanted to come back down into discount before taking me out, right? Yeah, I'm not seeing it. This pretty much was the narrative that I had, was sweeping these lows down in here. And at that point, I could see a bullish narrative. Right now, I can't see a bearish narrative. But even if it might be bearish, I just don't see it. But this is definitely a mess. And I feel like this is the kind of stuff that previously would have chewed me up. You know, we have gaps failing left and right. And I took my shot here based off of the lows being swept. And even still, that was not it. And it might just want to chop down and keep going further towards sell side. And so one of the big things to do in this instance is like just either A, sit out, I took a chance, and then B, don't get back in. So if you notice, I didn't FOMO back in any kind of way. I didn't flip my bias and start taking shorts. I just accepted the loss and just going to sit here. There may be nothing. Well, this is just Chop City. Yeah, I can't be bearish here. Even if it wants to sell off, I can't be bearish. So what we got? 10:09, 10:10 time wise. What do we have? What do we got? Yeah, I can't be bearish. So I don't know if there's anything to do for me right now. There's no more sell side to sweep, and more so just kind of consolidating down where my stop loss was. So let's see what happens. Building a little bit of trend line right there. All right. So we got 3 minutes till this 15-minute candle's closing. And this is consolidating on the 15-minute. 1 hour still kind of in this whole range. And I was cool with accumulation and then this manipulation for distribution, but that could be wrong. There's this 1 hour low right there. And then we have this 4 hour low right down there. And then, of course, this previous 4 hour candle, which was just this 6 a.m. candle that closed, is now below. All right, just still consolidating. I mean, it's more bearish than bullish, but there's nothing to do. Because it needs to move somewhere to give more information. I'm thinking that's it for me. Um, looking around, see if there's anything else to consider. Just being a chop fest, there's pretty much, it needs to move one way or another. And then even then, it's got to go a long ways either way before I'm interested in anything. I want to see it either come all the way down here for some kind of long, all the way up here kind of thing for some kind of short. Because I especially like how it's building this liquidity right here. I think that's nice, but it's going to be a while before there's anything here. So we'll wait for a few more, see what happens. Looks like it might want to start moving. We'll see. Okay, so we got this New York AM low right down in here. Okay, now we got some movement. All right. What do we got now? We do have a 3-minute inversion. All right, so multiple SMTs. We tapped that low. YM is bullish. YM's pushing higher already. We got about a minute to close on this candle here. We got a 3 drives pattern. We have all this liquidity built up in here. Let's see if it gives an entry. I think it's worth one shot. Time-wise, it's 10:20. Holy moly, is it even going to give an entry? All right, let's see what it does. 10 seconds to close. You know, looking around here, like I want to see it rip and I don't want to see it retrace. So we have this narrative of price pushing up and then coming back against the buyers. And I also don't have anything to any more confirmation than this 3-minute inversion right here. So I'm cool with breaking even early. Like right there is actually my legit break-even point. And then so we'll see what happens. I only have one contract in on this trade, so I can't partial. I would have partialed right here at 1R and then went break even and then left my runners. All right, looks like it's probably going to want to come back down and retest this inversion. And if that's the case, it's going to stop me out here break even. And that's the end of my day. Got these relative equal highs right in here. Some nice expansion, that's for sure. So what I want to see is what happens when it takes these equal highs, and does it get rejected off the midnight open in the new day opening gap again? Cool. All right, so really the trade grade, let's go back to the 3-minute chart. The candle, the model formation itself really was A+, so the logic is still sell side liquidity sweep in discount for LRLR. We have SMT, we have major liquidity sweep. We have high probability targets. The cons are the narrative is possibly still consolidation or bearish. The context, so the higher time frame aligned, so we still have a little bit of, you know, 50% here. It's just, I can see both sides. The time makes sense, yes. The discount, it's in discount, yes. We had the major liquidity. We had target still intact, no unresolved liquidity, yeah. So this is the 50% right there. A-grade displaced, yeah. So the context clarity score is, you know, maybe A minus or B plus. The price action grade was prior was definitely B or C grade. Pros, PA, the price action is turning A grade. So let's see what happens here. I do like these equal highs right up in here too. So let's see what it does. Getting close. I have this gap right down in here. I want to see that hold. All right, I want to see it come back down, respond positively to this fair value gap, just like that. And if it's bullish, I want to see it push higher or from there. I don't want to see it start grinding back down through this gap. So at this point, here's a tailless candle. I really don't want it to come back for that at all. I just want to see it expand further. So I'm dragging my stop loss around here, trying to figure out if I want to move it up or not, because I don't want to be too greedy. I also don't want to cut my wins too early. So I'm trying to figure out, in these conditions, am I better off holding for this swing, or do I want to just take profits and be content? So I'm kind of waiting to see what this candle does, where it closes. All right, so that's a bullish close. Cool. Cool. I'm good being out there. TP slightly early. These conditions definitely had me a little more on edge. Not feeling 100% confident that this is going to be the rally. It might be, but I also didn't want to see it kind of form yet another swing high up in here for further distribution towards sell side and creating targets later. So cool. I'll take it. I'll take it. Cool, cool, cool. All right. I think that's it for this session. I think I'm gonna have to come back and review this this a little further later on, and I want to evaluate this first 2-minute long. Let me see what's going on over there. This right here, this 2-minute, and maybe I think it's wasn't an A+ trade. I don't know. I mean, I'd obviously graded it as an A, but if I downgrade it to a B or anything like that, yeah, I'll have to rethink that decision. But nonetheless, I'm still pretty happy to be able to sit here in these charts, watching this kind of price action, take a loss, and just chill out until something pretty, light bulb appears. I think that that's a strong skill that I've developed. And one of the things that, I have a lot to work on in trading. And one of the things I'm proud of is being able to just take a loss and walk away and not need another trade today. Maybe the best action probably would have been sitting out. When I look it up here, I gotta label what the best action of the session was. I'll have to think about that a little bit later, but maybe sitting out, just given that the context was unclear. And that's where I struggle sometimes because it's on the edge. Like when I took this 2-minute long, Asia low had been swept, SMT, like it was really a valid setup for so many reasons. And then there was a couple of things that were wrong. And sometimes I feel like if a couple of things are wrong in a trade setup, which it feels like there always is, I can get a little hesitant on the trade setup. And because how often is it that everything's perfect, that the model's perfect, that the context is perfect? It's just so rare. And finding that line of tolerance for what you deem a quality setup and what you don't deem a quality setup is kind of where I've been struggling this year, and constantly refining that and then second guessing myself sometimes. And then, when I look at some of my mentors and, some of these influencers too, I'll watch them look at a trade setup and say, this is, A+. And I'm looking at it going like, well, everything I know that I've learned from you, like, why is that? I don't see it. And, it's the question of like, do we see things as we want them to be seen, not as they actually are? And I feel like in trading, I've watched certain influencers, like they'll say one thing and then they'll do another. And so in other words, they can justify it. They can, say, oh, I'm not taking a trade unless either side is swept. And then they'll take a trade in the middle and they're like, oh, well, X, Y, and Z reason made me take the trade in the middle, even though I said I was going to wait till buy side was swept or sell side was swept. And so that's something I'm trying to figure out in my trading currently is that line. And maybe it's not a hard line, and it never will be, because trading is discretionary and you can't make it 100% mechanical, in my opinion, because no 2 days, no two groupings of candlesticks are the same. No two contexts are all the same. And you put all that together, and then you have dozens and dozens of variables. And if you do the math for the odds for all that to be the same and perfect every time, you're going to get like one trade every 6 months, you know? And so for me, that's kind of where what I'm working on at the moment, you know, is what do I deem A grade? What do I deem not A grade? And how do you balance that? Like sometimes there are characteristics that override other characteristics, and you're like, well, crap, this trade is missing X and it's something I really like to see, but then you see everything else is like amazingly perfect. Does that override the mediocre setup that hit all the marks, you know? So those kind of questions. So yeah, anyways, I guess I'm going to end it here, and I'll catch y'all tomorrow.